rushing back into the cannon, and Vic has now loaded our charge. And our charge today is about 5 ounces of black powder wrapped up in some historically inaccurate aluminum foil. Back in the day, they would have used a material known as muslin cloth. However, that tends to smolder and burn, be fairly expensive. So we use a much safer and cheaper substance. However, if you're then going to ram that down to the end of the barrel with the command ram, using the other end of the sponge called a rammer, make sure it's firmly seated underneath Chase's thumb. And with the command ready, the gunners will then step outside the wheel and Chase will use a long brass spike called a gimlet. That is going to poke a hole inside of our charge so it can be set off by our ignition device. And the ignition device we're going to be using today is this. It's called a friction primer. It's a small copper tube with a little bit of a chemical called mercury fulminate on top of it. Spark is going to then set off some black powder inside this tube, and that is then going to set off the black powder inside of our charge. It is now attached to the lanyard so we can pull the pin from a safe distance. And it is at this point that I am contractually obligated